Hi guys. Today, we're diving into a chilling horror story set deep in the Appalachian Mountains, a place where people go missing, strange voices are heard, and one of the workers directly walks into mystery that can never be solved. Stay till the end, because nothing in this story is what it seems.
The clock hit 8 a.m. in the mist-shrouded depths of Ravenback Preserve, a forgotten corner of the Appalachian wilderness where only a few dared to tread. Ranger Benjamin Fanny was supposed to be at his post, watching the old ridgelines and ancient trees. But when his supervisor tried to reach him over the radio, there was no reply. After a few fruitless attempts, the supervisor gave up. Later, a disturbing note appeared pinned to the old bulletin board at his station. It said the land was owed a body. Not long after, a young woman named Lennon arrived for her first day on the job as a forest ranger. Her truck creaked through winding gravel roads flanked by darkened pine and crooked oak. A crackling voice came over the radio, reporting recent disappearances across the region, not isolated incidents, but a pattern. Lennon paused on the roadside to grab a tissue. As she looked up, a strange figure stood in the middle of the road, eerily still. Before she could react, the radio screeched, loud and violent, snapping her out of the trance. The figure had vanished. At the ranger station, she overheard two other rangers mocking her, though they acted polite when veteran Ranger Jackson introduced them. Jackson, however, greeted her warmly and acknowledged she'd been trying to land this post for years. Lennon didn't say much. When their supervisor, Jen Ong, gave the orientation, she warned them there'd be no phone signal and limited power in some zones. Lennon, meanwhile, kept eyeing the wall of missing posters, especially the one with Benjamin Fanny's face. Elsewhere, an elderly couple, Harold and Margaret Finley, packed up for a camping trip. Harold's knee had healed, and they were eager to return to the forest. They knew Lennon and were happy for her. Lennon was soon assigned to her post, the same isolated one where Fanny had disappeared. The ominous note had been removed. Calmly, she stripped the tape from the shelter door. It was a sparse cabin, bare-boned but serviceable. She secured her firearm, unfolded a large topographic map on the wall, and marked significant areas. At the center, she taped a faded family photo, her quiet mission beneath the surface. On the cabin wall, she taped a handwritten message for anyone who might wander by, saying she'd be out for 3 days and warning them not to steal her supplies. As she trekked through the ancient woods, she tuned into a local AM conspiracy radio station. The host discussed mysterious disappearances, including children who vanished near granite fields, only to have their bodies found in odd places long after thorough searches. Most stories, the host said, circled back to Ravenback. That night, Lennon set up camp. At dawn, she resumed her patrol but found the radio dead. She realized she'd forgotten to bring spare batteries. The second night in the woods grew darker than the last. Somewhere in the thicket, something moved. Her flashlight caught a glimpse of the same strange animal she'd seen before. Then, without warning, the radio screamed to life. As confusion settled over her, footsteps approached. She raised her lantern just as Jackson emerged from the shadows. He explained that he'd grown concerned after she missed her last check-in. He handed her fresh batteries and offered food, hoping to ease the tension. Lennon kept her distance. Rumors had circulated about her mental stability, and she wasn't about to give anyone more reason to talk. Jackson casually mentioned that solitude affected everyone in these woods. He asked whether she'd been dreaming, said many rangers found sleep elusive out here. They camped near each other that night. In the morning, he gave her a backup radio and left. She collapsed into exhausted sleep. That night, her past returned. In her dream, she saw herself and her younger sister playing in the woods. A woman's voice, likely their mother, was asking where her sister had gone. Lennon woke with a start, rattled. Over the next few days, she pushed deeper into the forest, marking off sections of her map. But her progress felt hollow. Whatever she was chasing remained just out of reach. The memory of her sister lingered like smoke. One night, a man pounded on her cabin door, shouting for help. He said his girlfriend had vanished before his eyes. Lennon tried to calm him and told him to wait while she put on her boots, but that tiny pause seemed to break him. He wept and ran off into the woods. She grabbed her radio, barefoot, and followed. His screams echoed through the forest. She found him collapsed, calling for Sarah. He insisted she'd been there just moments ago. The next morning, a search party was organized. Jen Ong identified the missing woman as Sarah Greenberg. Everyone was split into teams, except Lennon. Jackson told her to stay at the station in case Sarah returned. Defying orders, Lennon pinned up another warning note and left a message for Sarah in case she made it back. Then she headed back into the wilderness, not toward uncharted territory, but the same path where Sarah had vanished. At one point, she accidentally called out Jenny's name, her sister's name, instead of Sarah's. Eventually, she found a bloodied piece of cloth. Nearby, a girl stood silently, arms limp. It was Sarah, barely responsive. She only reacted when Lennon said her name, asking weakly if Lennon was real. Even after rescuing Sarah, Lennon wasn't spared. 𝐸𝐸 fired her. She was told to remain at her post until someone came to retrieve her at the end of the week. Lennon didn't argue. But with nothing left to lose, she made one final decision, to go back. She returned to the spot where Sarah had been found. The cloth was gone. The woods felt tighter, more ancient. That night, her radio crackled again. Assuming it was interference, she stepped outside. In the distance, a figure crawled among the trees, circling her tent. She called out but got no reply. Then a massive shadow appeared, a hand stretching toward the fabric of her tent. Lennon grabbed her firearm and warned the creature. It paused, then walked away. Her radio crackled again. Jackson's voice said someone had gone missing and that Lennon was needed. She responded instinctively, though confusion swelled in her gut. She hadn't told anyone she was out here. He gave directions, ones she followed without thinking, until she found herself at a lake, far from where she had been. Jackson's voice returned. But this time, it wasn't right. He said she was right where she needed to be. And then he said something else, something older than the forest. That nothing should be left behind. That nothing should be taken. That nothing should die. Lennon froze. It wasn't Jackson. She ran. The voice came again, but this time it was her sister Jenny's. A dream swallowed her. She awoke by the lake. The voice accused her of taking something. Nearby, blood stained a tree trunk. Sarah appeared again, asking whether Lennon was real. Lennon collapsed. She heard Jenny's whisper, saying she needed to give it back. She dropped the radio and wandered in a haze. She saw Harold and Margaret Finley, but they didn't see her. It was as if she were invisible. Then a version of herself appeared, and shot Margaret. She fled, only to witness Harold devouring Margaret. The scene played out repeatedly, a loop that tightened like a noose. Finally, Lennon raised her weapon, but she realized the forest demanded a price. She had taken Sarah. That upset the balance. But she couldn't shoot. She let them go. Jackson's voice warned her to return what was taken or remain in the forest forever. Lennon muttered that she would stay. At the lake, she unearthed a buried map with cryptic symbols and wrong directions. Still, she followed it and ended up back at her post. Inside, her sister's old shoe lay in the middle of the floor. The cabin warped, transforming into her childhood home. She walked through it, past memories of her father's grief and his eventual suicide. In a waterlogged bedroom, her sister waited. Lennon told her she had never stopped searching. Jenny whispered that it wasn't Lennon's fault. Then Fanny appeared. Then 𝐸𝐸. Lennon asked if they were real. 𝐸𝐸 nodded. She explained the forest made choices. It punished those who took from it. She confessed that she'd always known Jenny wasn't lost, she was taken. And now 𝐸𝐸 said she would give herself to protect Lennon. Hands pulled Lennon under. She surfaced in the lake, gasping. Jackson pulled her out and radioed that post 114 was missing. Lennon asked how he knew she was missing, not taken. He said nothing, but his eyes spoke volumes. The following summer, Lennon returned. 𝐸𝐸 was gone. Jackson handled new recruit orientations now. Lennon had taken Sarah's place. Back at post 114, she sat at the same desk, under the same trees, with two posters now on the wall, one for Jenny, one for Sarah. One night, a new message came over the radio. A boy was missing by the lake. His name was James Seymour. Lennon found him, still, whispering nonsense. He turned and asked if she was real. And Lennon, with a steady voice, told him she wasn't. Then she turned and walked away, her radio fading into silence behind her.
And that is the end of our movie today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you reach the end.